Right, I'm trying this again. I'm not sure how this works on YouTube. Obviously, it doesn't. Um, so I am trying to find the link to the live stream. Um, Create a live stream. And we go. Transcripts already live passenger stream. Title description, the basic info tab. So I think it's the settings here. Right, set up, we go to right, other title description, the basic info tab. Stream, right, put audio, video. Okay, so that's live. Advanced. Oh, I'm completely lost here. Okay. Okay, so that gets started on the live stream. Live. Aha. Okay. So that may well be live. Um, Stop streaming. Yes. Let's see. I think there's a slight lag on this. There is a lag on this. I'm watching, so that means me. I've done that. Stream options, DVR, encoder, there's the cards, basic info. Leave comments on the blog. Oh, I hate this. I'm completely all over the shop with this. Right, that's better. That might. Um, find it. Find it. Right. That might be better. Hello, class. How are you? I believe you're having a few problems with your questionnaires. Um, Now, you'll need to leave comments on the blog post here rather than on YouTube because otherwise I won't see them. Um, yes, I am sporting a rather grey beard, and yes, I do have a plaster cast to die for. It's black, so no writing on it, at least not with any pens I've found. Um, I'm waiting for my consultant to get back to me to give me the go ahead to come into work. I've been warned that I could suffer from long term, quite serious damage if I overuse my thumb, so that's a bit of a surprise. I wish they'd told me that beforehand. However, I think between the blog and Edmodo, we can certainly cover the coursework. I know that some of you are panicking, however, it will require you guys to work really hard, obviously. Um, Now, I am finding a way with this with the streaming. So if you look, I think that's the URL. Um, I'm scared to come off it, so you're getting a lot of gunk at the moment. But I'm very reliant on you giving me questions to answer. What I will say about the questionnaires is you'll need to basically sort it out yourselves, I'm afraid. I would recommend, if you're struggling, I would recommend having a written sheet which you have the questions on and which you just go and ask people either using tally marks. Remember, it doesn't have to be the most detailed um, questionnaire in the history of the world. What it does need to do is give you information which you can then comment on the on your essay. Now, hopefully, you got the excuse me, hopefully you got the post yesterday, which has got the questions. Those questions cover for the Nat fives. That is the opening of your pre-production work. Um, so that for each question, it's worth 5 marks. For higher, the first 3 questions are the ones which are important to you. I will post what you need to do for the second part of yours. Don't target having massively long answers for the higher people, especially. Um, I've been giving this some serious thought. If you've covered the points, you will get the marks for it. You don't need to go at great length. I think one of the faults that we have allowed to happen for higher media is we've allowed people to write as much as they want. So if you'll excuse me a second, I'm just going to try something. And I'm going to try and pull up these questions for you here. So give me a second. And also that should give you time to catch up with what I'm up to. Um, I'm playing with a live stream here. Um, so let's see. Plus image, image 01. Okay, and this could be interesting. Look, I look much better like this. Yeah, so these are the questions that I gave you yesterday. So describe what you discovered during your research into audience and explain how this influenced your plans. So really, these are the things you found out. These could be things like who goes to see what films. This could be what sort of films people like at different ages. This could be the how much money people have got. This could be what makes people want to go and see a film. This could be the what, whether people like a particular genre or they like a particular star. And so let's take as an example, you find out that 15-year-old boys like films with lots of action and adventure. Now, that is going to influence your plans because you're going to try and use that in your poster to sell your product, to sell your film. So that might involve having explosions, or it might involve having lots of guns, or it might involve having lots of well, you are you're 15, 16, 17-year-old boys. You know what is going to appeal to you in a film. If you see Vin Diesel's name on a poster, you're probably more likely to go and see it than if you see Benedict Cumberbatch or Eddie Redmayne. Similarly, you may well be in a situation where you would prefer to see a rom com. If you find that your audience like romantic comedies, then how is that going to influence your plans? And I would think that we'd be thinking about it could affect color, it could affect the images that you choose to use, signs, signified signifiers. It could influence the color scheme. Yes, we've talked a lot about teal and orange. Just because that's a commonly used one, would that necessarily fit in with your film? Obviously, you've got lots of examples. Going back to the questionnaire, if you need to ask people questions, have a couple of examples that you can use to show people. Show them a poster and say, "What about this poster?" Um, you've seen the ones that I've shown you. There are plenty more about. I'm going to move that out of the way slightly at the moment. Oh no! Excuse me, I am just forgetting what I'm on. Right. So if I move this to the side. Just clever this. So look, plaster. Um, if I, oh, I've got an itchy nose. Can you tell? I hate this. I absolutely hate this. Right. As I was saying, the the things you discover in your research, how do they influence? So you need to describe. So describe is basically saying what have you found out? What's the information? How does the information work? You then need to explain how this influenced. So you might say, I did think I was going to do this, but because of a research, I'm going to do this. And that's how you say how it explained it. Now, as I showed you in the example from the SQA, there are 1 mark for the description, and then 1 mark for the explanation, And in the example that you give, you actually get a further explanation because it then develops it. So you do that 2 or 3 times, and you'd be very unlikely not to get the full 5 marks for that part of the question. Okay, so that becomes really important. Um, Similarly, when we move on, when we start thinking about what did you discover your research into internal institutional controls. Now, is the internal institutional controls, this is A, that you've got no money, or B, that you need to use a particular piece of software, or that C, you have got a deadline that you have to reach, or D, that you do not have access to particular software or a camera or whatever it might be, or the fact that there might be health and safety restrictions within the school. Please try and avoid the health and safety one unless it's really obvious in your chosen poster. Um, like the it's people, unless you actually understand health and safety laws and rules and regulations, um, it's not a particularly great one to do. There are more obvious ones. So again, let's take the lack of budget. So, in other words, the school, I researched in, I've got no budget from the school. However, this means that on the surface, you can't buy lights to make it look better. However, this does mean that you then have to find ways around the problem. So you get hold of torches, you borrow torches from people, or you beg, steal, cajole, borrow as required from other people. And this in turn gives you the access to the resources you need. So again, internal institutional, identifying that the lack of money means there are things you cannot do. That's what you're describing. Your explanation that your original plan to have, a million megawatts of light to make it look like the surface of the sun is out the window. But you furthered that, you didn't give up on that idea totally, because what you realised was that by clever use of about half a dozen torches from your friends, all shining from one side, that you were able to, you reckon you're going to get the effect that you want. And remember, all of this at the moment, I should maybe have some helpful warning signs, but all of this would allow you to, what's the word? All of this would allow you to, it's what you're planning to do. Pre-production is about planning. It's about what you intend to do. It's not what you have done with regards to your project. It's what you intend to do. And you need to keep that distinction. So your pre-production work has to be before you actually get started. The production, if you're National 5, or the post-production, if you are higher, is a different thing. And 2 years ago, one of the groups, they got 0 marks for their pre-production because it was patently obvious. It was really obvious that they'd done the pre-production after they'd finished their film. Like they took storyboards by taking screen grabs of the finished film. So that's just stupid. Please don't do that. Describe what you discovered in your research into external controls. This is an interesting one. That is how you get the posters made. That is Advertising Standards Authority, or the CAP. And the link I gave you a couple of days ago is essential for that. Just have a look through the guidelines. I think I gave you the direct link to the posters, about which is outdoor advertising, it's called, about what you can and you can't say or do in these. So that's fairly straightforward. Right. I'm going to take a wee break on this just now because I suspect that I've probably given you plenty to think about. But please, see just below the YouTube video on the blog, it says leave a comment. Please leave a comment. I can help you if you let me know. I can dictate answers. I've just been doing that for my Nat 5 English class. Just been dictating answers. I've been dictating, or trying to dictate, these blog posts. I'm not a complete cripple. I just get into trouble if I use my right hand. So leave questions, leave comments. I think this will be available for you to go over again on the YouTube. It's on the PHS Mr W account, which you'll notice I've used for other school things. And don't, you know, don't sit and pause. One little thing I would say, especially with Nat 5s, as soon as you're happy that you have got enough there to be going on with, um, if I just very quickly address 4 and 5, because for National 5 they're the same. Describe what you discovered during your research into categories, language, narrative, representation. You only need to do one of these. For example, in representation, you found that traditional Scot wears a kilt and has ginger hair. So how does it influence your plan? Well, you decided to send it up. You're intending to have a Scottish hero, so you're going to make sure he looks Scottish. That would be how the representation might affect your plans. Or perhaps you want to go against that stereotype or that archetype. So you decide to have very Scottish but very modern looking. Maybe the only way you know they're Scottish is by their accent, or maybe you need to put them in a particular setting. So if you have, let's say, Edinburgh Castle in the background, you're using the background to say that this person is Scottish rather than having them in a kilt and a CU Jimmy hat. You need to do this maybe 2, 3, 4 times. Again, doing it more times than you need to is not going to go against you. This is the great thing about this subject. You put 3 or 4 or 5 examples in, and the chances are, even if you're only picking up 1 or 2 marks for each one, that will give you your 10 marks. Where for the 2 questions, rather than counting on doing it once and getting it right. And if you only get 2 marks for that, that's 2 out of 5. You're not going to pass with that, or at least not without doing awesome in the exam. Okay, I will leave it at this just now. Please leave comments. Please let me know if this helps, and I will do my best to make sure that this doesn't get deleted and it's still available. So make sure, make sure you make a note of the URL. Okay, that is Mr. Winton over and out just now. And I've got to try and tell this, I'm trying to use Siri, so hit my function key 3 times to get Siri to come on, and stop streaming. Yes.